oversharer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, Marissa, think about what you say.
Dude, I think everybody, when they get into like, this space, they think like, oh, hey, like they just start oversharing, and then later we'll get a text back. Hey, I think I might have said too much. And I'm just like, it's okay.
Be me.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay, filter yourself. But like, I'm such like a, I don't know, authentic, unfiltered.
Me too, but you know what? I just saw on TikTok that if you overshare, that's like an ADHD
for
trait.
sure.
And I was like, oh damn, dude, because I've noticed that like there's a couple traits that I'm like, damn, dude, I think I might have it. And then I just start seeing more traits. I'm like, oh yeah, I do that too. So
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it like runs in my family.
yeah. Oh, I see.
Thank you.
Smart.
Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense, huh?
Yeah. Can you hear yourself okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Danny the perfectionist.
Sorry.
No, I get it though, because you want to be able to.
She's facing us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, guys. So we were recording the whole time. So welcome back to the podcast. I just like to kind of dive right in and talk about our ADHD problems. So hey guys,
That's a HIPAA law.
Yeah. But nobody's diagnosing anybody anything. This is all self-diagnosis.
Self-diagnosis.
Yeah. Welcome back to the podcast, guys. We're talking about feeling a little rusty. We kind of took a week off. We needed a vacation. So where did we go, Danny?
We went to a hockey game in Anaheim.
Anaheim, dude.
Thank you, Vonnie. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you, Brentag. I think she won a raffle. She was the only one that entered the raffle, so it was a pretty easy win. So, but man, dude, 4 free tickets, $45 attached to the game. So, I had fun.
Do you like hockey now?
Yeah. I mean, I still need to get into. It's just too many games. It's just like NBA. Why can't they be like football? And there's like, hey, 18 games, and hey, you're good.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody complain about how many games there are in a sport.
It's
Usually it's like, oh, that's over.
Yeah.
I need that to be longer.
No, I can't keep up. Like NBA or baseball, I'm just like, oh, hey, they play on Tuesdays, and then they play the next game, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I got to be able to keep up.
I love it all.
Oh, so hey, you guys are probably hearing that voice. Like, hey, who's that talking? Danny, you want to introduce our guest?
This is Marissa. She is. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
So, I was just going to say something else. I was going to say the name of your company or your business. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce your company.
Hi, it's Marissa Hannegart. My business is called Cookies by Sasa.
Sasa. Okay, so what inspired the name?
Okay, so my boyfriend's nephew, he was, I think, about like 3 years old when I met him, and he couldn't say Marissa. So he said Sasa. And then now his whole family just calls me Sasa. And so it was like really hard to come up with like a name, because it's like, you're like, okay, like, do I go simple? Do I go clever? Do I do something without like your personal name? And so I just was like, you know what? Like, I've never had a nickname, because when your name's Marissa, like, there's not really much you could do with that,
Yeah, you're right.
And so I was just like, I'm going to do Cookies by Sasa. Give myself a little nickname.
That's awesome.
But I have also like contemplated, like, so many people did not know that it's me. And they would come and pick up, or they'd see me like at a pop-up, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, like, it's somebody that I've known, and they're like, wait, it's you? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And then I'm like, okay. So then that's made me be like, okay, like, do I keep Sasa or do I do
So is that
Marissa?
like an issue that you've run into that you're contemplating? Like, hey, you want to try to switch it up?
Yeah, I'm like in between, because I like it too, but I'm also like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right though. It's just like, hey, you need something where people know it's you. That's crazy though.
Because
Yeah.
I'll be guilty. When you said Marissa, I knew it was like a Marissa that we worked with, but we worked with like 3 or 4 Marissas.
Yeah, you're right.
And then Marissa came by, and I was like, oh, it's this Marissa.
Yeah, see, exactly. And so I'm just like, I don't know, but so yeah, we'll see. Maybe there will be a little change.
Yeah, it's funny because when you said that right now, the whole, hey, we've worked with a bunch of Marissas. Vani, we were actually asking, like, who did you know first? Did you know Vani before me, or did you know me before Vani?
No, I knew both of you before I knew her.
Oh, okay.
I knew it's funny. I know I was like telling like my boyfriend Jesse this too. Like, I know the both of you before I know both of your girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you know Vani because you guys used to work at the Chicos, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the first job was at Pilot with you guys.
Oh, okay. That's what we're trying to figure out. I was just like, no, I
Yeah.
think I knew her first because like I started at Pilot in like around 2008. So I was just like, in between those years that I worked there, I was like, I knew you. So she was like, oh yeah, because her job was like fresh out of high school. So I was just like, we were just trying to kind of pinpoint that.
Yeah.
But then every time we talk about Marissa, because we know a couple Marissas too, the way we differentiate you is like little Marissa. And I was just like, it's funny.
I grew up and that was my nickname.
Little
Little
Marissa.
Marissa. Yeah. Like everybody would refer to me as
Yes.
Little Marissa.
And now we just go, oh yeah, we just say, oh, Marissa that makes cookies. I was like, oh yeah, that's better too, instead of just saying little Marissa. But so just to kind of start with the whole background that, you know, you're making cookies, like what led you to this?
So after I had my baby, I was just like, okay, we didn't have anybody to watch him. So the plan was for me to stay home. But my mentality has always been like, I can't, you know, like you get paid like the unemployment, like for like your maternity leave, and then like, you know, the leave after that, like the bonding. And so I did all of that, but I'm like, okay, like obviously that money's going to run out. And I was just like, I was a single mom at a very young age. And my mentality has always been the same, where it's like, I need to provide. No matter what, like, my relationship status is, like, if I'm with somebody or not, like, I have a child and I need to provide. So I was just like, okay, like, what can I do? And it wasn't even like, okay, I sat down and thought, like, what are my options? What can I do, like, that can give me some type of income? On the first day of school, like not this school year that's going on, but the school year before.
Okay.
I had baked some chocolate chip cookies and some blueberry muffins, and I made little baggies and I gave them to some of the teachers at my son's school and my mom, and then my stepson's school to his teacher, and then everybody just started telling my mom, like, oh my gosh, these are so good, she could sell them. And I was just like, really? Like, could I? And then my mom was just like, why not give it a try? Like, what are you gonna lose, you know? And I've always loved to bake. I started baking at like a really young age, and it was just something that was, I don't know, kind of therapeutic to me. And so like I started baking like shortly after I had my son, but because it's just like you're going through so much after you have a baby, and I was just like, I don't know, baking to me is like an outlet, and I'd bake like really late at night, and I'd be making muffins at 11 o'clock at night, and to me, I'm like, that's the best time to bake muffins.
Nobody's bothering you, you're on your own.
Yeah, and then my kid wakes up in the morning and he could grab some muffins.
There you go.
They're already made. I don't even have to bake them in the morning, and so that's just something that I've always done. Like I always really, really have like enjoyed baking, and it calms me, it makes me feel good. And so then, I don't know, just the encouraging words of like people were really enjoying them, and they were just like, tell her to make more, like I'll buy them from her. And so I was just like, well, I could give it a try. And so then I just like I was so scared, but then it was literally just like, you have that mindset, like, what are you gonna lose? Like, I don't have anything to lose. If people don't buy them, we're gonna eat them and we're fine.
There you go. Yeah.
And so I just posted one day that I had some cookies to sell, and then people bought them all.
Oh wow,
Awesome.
And then I posted again, and then people bought them all. And the rest of that week, I was just like, okay, like I need more options. Like I started off, I think, like with a chocolate chip cookie, a snickerdoodle cookie. And I think it was just kind of like those two at first. And then I just started looking up like more recipes, and then I just gradually went on, and I think I have like 22 flavors of cookies now.
Whoa.
Damn. 22 flavors is a lot.
Yeah, dude, Baskin Robbins over here. Shoot.
How do you?
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, I know, right? How do you go about? Do you create these?
Yeah.
Like all these 22 creations? I mean, I know the chocolate chip cookie has been there forever, but the other ones, are they creations that you thought of, your son thought of?
Both. I have the chocolate chip cookie that I started off with. I actually don't even make anymore. I do a different chocolate chip cookie now, which I brought you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, shout out to Marissa because she gave us some samples. Woo!
And so I have done like where like I've looked up a recipe, and when you start looking up recipes, notice the similarities in them. And so sometimes when I just I'm like, okay, I should try this, and I'll just kind of start making my own and then see if it works or not.
Do you mean the similarities as in like, hey, I have all the ingredients to this, it's just like adding 2 or 3 more different things to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you look at like the measurements of like all the ingredients. I know I have all the ingredients, but it's just like what forms the cookie. And I'm like, okay, I just need to like tweak this and it can be like a different flavor.
Oh.
And I can use like one cookie base and make 3 or 4 different kinds of cookies. Like the chocolate chip cookie. I brought you guys chocolate chip and s'mores. And like that's obviously the same cookie, but it's 2 different cookies.
Anatomy of a cookie here.
Yeah, seriously.
And then my kids have inspired like some flavors because they'll be the ones to be like, ooh, what about this? What about this? Like I'm pretty sure they're the ones that came up with like the Fruity Pebbles cookie.
That's my favorite. I was just going to say it, dude. That was my favorite out of the ones that Vani bought, dude. I could not stop talking about that one.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. It was the best I've ever had.
You know what? I don't make that one often. Oh. I don't, and I don't know why. Because then, like, my kids, I don't know, and, like, my kids start eating the cereal.
Yeah, you're right.
and so I don't, but I'm not too sure why I don't, like, make that one all the time. I guess I should, like, people request their favorite so much that I'm, like, trying to, like, people please in that way.
Right.
Of, like, posting what they want. And so then I forget about all these other flavors. Because, I mean, 22 flavors is a lot to, like, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I just, I think as a kid aspect, you know, you're talking about like, hey, they're gonna get into the cereal. I think when I think cookies, I think of like, hey, what was my like, what do I like? What do I reminisce? And my favorite cereal is Fruity Pebbles. You know, so when I see Fruity Pebbles, whether it's ice cream, whether it's in a cookie, like I go to town. Yeah. So I correct me if I'm wrong, but did you also make a strawberry shortcake one?
Yes,
dude. And
that one is like people love that one.
Yeah.
I don't eat it. I don't eat all my cookies.
Oh yeah, well I think I've said this before. It's like a drug dealer.
Get high on their own product.
Yeah.
But not even just that. Like I don't. Like people love it, so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll keep making it, obviously, because people want it, but I won't eat it. Damn. I don't. Yeah.
You don't even try it, like.
No, I've tried it.
Okay.
I don't like it, but because I'm just like I'm like a chocolate lover. So like I want like the chocolate chips, like oatmeal chocolate chip cookie. I'm good. Yeah. I don't need anything like more than that. But a lot of people do. Like my sister is like, oh my gosh, that's the one. That's the one. Like I only want that one.
Yeah, that strawberry shortcake one really threw me off because I was just like, holy crap, this tastes like the, you'd get the strawberry shortcake ice cream from the popsicle. I was like, holy crap, how did she get the whole flavor profile into this damn cookie? I was just like astonished, dude. I was like, damn. Yeah, they were really good. So that's why, like, we're asking like, hey, how do you come up with these creations? I'm just like, hey, seriously, is it just like, hey, there's this ice cream flavor. Hey, I want to try that into a cookie. See if it, plays out, because it's, I don't know. I would have never thought that could have been a cookie, but it worked out.
I just like it's, TikTok is a huge help. Like I get like ideas like from there, like it's not on me. Like I wouldn't know how to come up with like a strawberry cookie. Like I really wouldn't. It's like I look it up and then I kind of make it my own. Like I don't follow exactly what I see on there. It's just more like I'm like, okay, like this is how I get started. And then how do I make it my own? Damn,
dude. Hopefully the government doesn't take TikTok away because I swear I learned so much on TikTok.
Right?
I'm not even kidding.
Life hacks all the way.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway. So, but yeah, kind of talking a little bit more about, the cookie, not the cookie, but like kind of getting into making cookies. Like, did you ever start in high school, like taking home ec classes or anything like that? Or was it?
I did. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is like one I want to take. It just kind of happened. And then I was just like, yes, like this is like perfect for me. And I still remember when I did home ec that it was like the home ec class. I can't remember if there was like 2 different names for them because there's one where like everybody's like baking and then in like the classroom. And then there's the other one where you're in the kitchen. Like there's the kitchen that you bake for the staff.
Oh yeah, campus kettle.
Yes, that.
Yeah, it's the ROP class. I took that. I was a nerd, and I was like, I don't want to deal with random people and lunch, because back then it was 2 lunches. Oh, you might be a little young for this, but
No.
no, what are you?
Yeah, it's 2 lunches.
Yeah, and I was just like, and I think now they only have 1, but yeah, it was weird. I was just like, all my friends were at the first lunch, and I was on the second lunch, and I didn't have anybody to hang out with. I was like, let me just sign up for campus kettle. So, but anyway, that was the best. I'm glad that I signed up for it. I did that for 2 years, and I was like, it was cool. I loved it.
And me too. But like both of those classes, I really, really loved. But the campus kettle one, like I really loved that one, and I learned like I remember one of our like assignments was we needed to make a lemon meringue pie, and I don't think I've ever made a lemon meringue pie like after this, but I got the best pie. And I was
damn.
oh, cool. And I've always remembered that. Like, it felt really good because it's just something that I enjoy to do. But I really enjoyed it, but I don't remember, I don't remember much from there. But yeah, but I just always, in high school, me and one of my best friends, I would always bake. Like, we'd be like, oh, it's somebody's birthday, let's bake a cake. And she's like, well, I can't bake for shit. And so she's like, you bake. And I'm like, well, I'm not artistic at all. And so I'm like, I can't decorate. So we were like the perfect combination. And I'd always bake, and then she'd always decorate the cakes.
So it really did start at a young age where you were just like, hey, doing it for fun, right?
Oh, yeah. I think I was probably I don't know, 10, 11 years old, and baking in the kitchen. And it would be where I'd be I would just make banana bread in the kitchen. And I remember the first time that I ever did that. I think I was doing it really late at night. I don't know why that's my thing. And I mean, obviously, I'm a little kid and I'm doing this. And I put, instead of the measurement of sugar, I did salt.
Oh.
And I remember when I tried it, I spit it out and was like, this is awful. Oh my gosh. But then it was just okay, try again. But it's just, yeah, I've always had a passion for baking. And
that's funny you say that, because I feel 10 is a young age, but my daughter Addie's she's 10 right now, and we're still asleep, and she's like, hey, can I make this? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I'm still asleep. And then she's made pancakes for all the kids and stuff. And I'm like, yo, dude, at age 10, I just feel I wasn't doing that at age 10,
I think it might be a girl boy thing.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
because I have boys, and I'm yeah, I don't know if I'd be letting them at 10 years old do some things. I'd be where I couldn't sleep.
Yeah. And she follows the directions and stuff, which I'm I'm amazed. I'm like, okay, cool, great. But then I'm also, damn, I'm letting her at the stove. So if something happens, I'm just oh God, I got to deal with the mom. You know what I mean? It's hey, what was she doing near the stove? But I'm just hey, she does a great job. Yeah, exactly. So it's I'm kind of proud of her. So when you mentioned that, I was oh, maybe I do need to start letting the reins a little bit for her to kind of just explore, and she has fun. You know what I mean? So it's like a win-win.
Yeah, it's really it's something I never if I could have guessed this for my future. No, I had no idea that this would even become anything.
So when you first started, what would you just started off with your stove and everything, or is that did you upgrade anything? Have you whoa?
The only thing I upgraded was my amazing sister-in-law, Sandra, which her birthday is today. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
She let me use her KitchenAid. So for the first couple of months, I was using a hand mixer.
Oh, sure.
And that's not ideal if you're baking 4 or 5 batches all in one day, right. So thankful, I'm so thankful to her, because she was just she's I don't use it. I have it, and she's I don't use it. You put it to use. And so that's the only thing I have. I have 2 ovens, thankfully, but so that is a tremendous help to me. But also, I don't know why, but my bottom oven does not cook the same as my top oven. Oh. And that has caused so many issues for me. Sometimes I don't even want to use it, but it's a hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a little dial. And sometimes I'm just a smidge this way, and it wouldn't have burnt them. And
oh, damn.
Yeah. So, but no, I haven't upgraded anything.
Oh, that's cool. So, I mean, you still keep getting the clientele, but you're just keeping up with what you got.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't even think I'm keeping up.
So with that being said, Is there a lot of orders coming in through like word of mouth, media, like Instagram, or pop-ups?
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yes. I did my first pop. I've only done 3 pop-ups. I did my first one during the summer sometime. And that was a lot of fun. And I was really like, I didn't know what to expect. And I'm so thankful like for that one because it like jump started like the rest of them and stuff. And then the second and third one that I did were at Mima's Country Things. And it's actually not too far from here because they're off of like Avenue 17 Country Club, right next to like where Tacos and Beer is. And
okay.
yeah, and it's at a house, but they have like made their backyard into like a venue.
Oh,
It is the coolest backyard you will ever see, like especially here locally.
And what's it called again?
It's called Mima's Country Things.
Mima's Country Things. Okay.
Yes, look
and
them
so
up,
what?
follow them.
But besides them, like, well, is it just a venue that they rent out, or?
No, like they're open during the week. They have like you walk in and it's totally like not what you expect. It is so cool and so beautiful, and like take your kids. But they have a shop there. And so it's like a little shop. Like you'll walk in and like the shop will keep going and you're like not expecting this. And there's so much things in there. And so they have it open for that. But they also have like a little bar area where it's like they'll serve, they serve like drinks and they serve food. And it's just the whole scenery. Like it's just beautiful to the eye. And so then they host pop-ups, but they also host like parties and stuff like that. And they're the sweetest people. I adore them, love them. And I did my second pop-up there, and I think I maybe made like 250 cookies, and I sold out in 2 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so then like that was really cool, and then they were like, we knew it wasn't gonna be enough, and I'm like, it's really hard. I like strive on like I want my cookies to be fresh. I do not want to sell cookies that are like more than a day old. They need to be like fresh because I don't want them to taste like any different. And so it was just like, okay, like I have to make, 250 cookies like by myself in like a day and a half maybe, and package them all and, like all that kind of stuff. And so it's a lot. But then when I did the third pop-up, which was last month, I did it there, and I think I did over 300 cookies.
Oh, okay. So you bumped it up. All right.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I need to bring more because I want to like stay longer. Because it's like a 4-hour like event. And so I'm very thankful again because people were like, they're so kind and so sweet. And they say such nice things to me and stuff. And I again sold out in 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, I have like, it feels weird. I don't want to talk about myself.
No, this is exactly what it's for.
But it's a really amazing thing. Like that's when I like really, really appreciate like what I do because it's like crazy to me because it's like I have a line of people and I'm like, what? Like there's a line of people to buy cookies from me right now. Like what's happening?
Oh, that's cool.
So like that, it just makes me extremely thankful for like the tremendous amount of support that I do receive.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how long does it take you to make 100 cookies? Just 100.
Okay, so to dive into that is like I can't even. This is where like my main struggle with baking, and it's like I can't be mad at the struggle. It is unpredictable to bake with a toddler.
Oh yeah.
Like. People are not baking cookies. I mean, not most people are baking cookies like with a toddler. Think of like if you make one meal in a day and your toddler is like pulling on you and they're crying and how like stressful that moment can be. That's me for like 8 hours.
Dude.
And so like that is like hard because it's just like I feel so guilty sometimes because it's like, okay, I'm home and I want to be home because I want to be with him. And I'm like, okay, but I also need to make like 150 cookies today. And it's like, I kind of like, he wants to go outside and play. I can't bake and go outside and play. And so that's really hard because I have to do both. I have to entertain him and bake at the same time and like take cookies out of the oven and like make sure that like I shape those ones right and make sure they're not like burnt. And but then he's crying and it can be a lot. And so it's hard because I could have like, he could be just a little angel and I could have the perfect day that just flows right. Or I could have a day where he did not wake up on the right side of the bed and he is just like, he wants to be held. And I've had to do that sometimes where it's like, I'm doing everything with one hand and I'm holding him in the other.
Oh, man.
And so it's just like, what would take me maybe 15, 20 minutes is going to take me an hour now.
How old is this little guy?
He, in like 2 to 3 weeks, he'll be turning 2.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, so
so-
that's a whole different set of problems once he turns 2, right? The terrible twos or whatever?
Like, we're already in the pre-season of that. Yeah, so it can, like, to make 100 cookies, I don't know, like, I feel like it's just hard to answer because it's like every day
It's
is
different.
like kind of different.
Yeah.
So in one batch, how many are you making? Like you said, you have 2 ovens. Like how many does your oven fit?
Well, I usually I can do like 6 to 8 cookies like at a time in each oven.
6 to
Oh,
8?
6 to 8.
Yeah, I'm not even, yes.
I thought you were making like 12
I know,
or maybe
yeah.
24 on each tray or something.
No.
You get like 50 per bake.
That's what I was thinking.
No, so it's extremely time consuming.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah. And then it's just like each batch will make like a different like amount as well. Like I sometimes have a batch that makes like 9 cookies and not 12. And so if somebody orders 12 of that, like I have to make 2 of the batches, you know?
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and then sometimes like one of them can make 12, one of them can make 9, one of them can make 17. Like it
Varies.
ranges.
Okay. Now, I kind of want to go on the more technical side because I've always been like the type, I wonder how that works, right? So my thing is just like, how do you come up with the price of the cookies? Do you, I know like, hey, inflation, fucking everything's gone up and stuff, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then also, you know, I think from time to time the eggs go up like extremely crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
And then like you're running 2 ovens. You got the PG or not the PG&E, but the gas, right? To kind of worry about. How does all that go into the price of the cookie? Like, are you at the end of the day? I hope you're taking money home. If not, obviously you're doing this for the customer, not necessarily for you. How did you make that work?
Honestly, okay, so I just last week bumped up my prices because it is like, yes, inflation. Like, if I were to sit down and really calculate it all, I should be charging more than what I charge. Even right now with me bumping my prices, to make what I really should be making, I should go at a higher price. It took me like 6 months just to like 6 months of me knowing that I need to raise my prices to actually raise them. I feel extremely guilty like about it. And like that's still like fresh. Like me, you know, like I'm just saying like just last week I barely like bumped up my prices. And when I say bumped them up, it's like I was doing a lot of cookies for $1. And
What?
yes. And it was either $1 or $2. That was the price of like my cookies. And I'm just like, okay, people would be like, okay, chocolate chip cookies for $1, like give me 24.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, they'd get 24, they'd get 24, they'd get 24. And I'm like, okay, I maybe made a couple dollars.
Yeah.
Like realistically, because of just how much things cost. Like, in the truth of it, I'm spending more than I'm making.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew that, but I'm just like, okay, but like, I don't know. I have so many customers and like the demand is so high that like I will be making money because it just like it keeps flowing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then it was just like, okay, I started to like notice a lot. I'm spending way more than I'm making, and I do need to raise my prices, especially if the demand is so high.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, like finally. And like I felt guilty about it, and it's why like, okay, most people that sell they sell by the dozen, and they're like, you have to order like a dozen of this and a dozen of that, and like that's how they sell. And I don't sell that way. And theirs is probably like a lot like smarter and benefits them more. But the thing is that I have people that will order, 2 cookies, 4 cookies. And I don't want to force anybody to have to pay $24, $26, whatever the amount is, like for cookies. If they're just like, I want a couple cookies, but like I don't have $24 to spend on cookies.
Oh, okay.
Like that would be me. And so I think I want to like offer people like what it would be for me. And so that's why it was just like when people place orders, like, okay, I'll break it down. On Sundays, I will post my menu for that week.
Oh.
Yes. And so I will do like on Sunday. So today I'll post my menus, and I'll do, like my Monday menu has like this flavor, and this flavor. And I'll put the prices like next to the flavor, so they know. And so like they'll be like, okay, can I have 2 of this, 4 of that, 6 of this? So like when I'm making them, I have a very odd amount of numbers for each flavor.
Oh, I see.
And so then I will, at the end of the day, like after I'm done boxing all of like the orders that were placed, I post my leftovers, and then people can buy off of that.
Okay.
In the way, like I keep it like that because of the fact where it's like, if people want to order 2 cookies, like order 2 cookies, like if you can't like afford and don't have like, because I feel like everybody's kind of in that situation right now. Like we're all struggling.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm not going to like force somebody to spend like a lot of money when they like, honestly, they just want a couple cookies at night,
Yeah.
Like they had a long day. I need to sit down and have, some milk, some iced coffee with my cookies.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to change it because I still want to provide that for people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's crazy that you feel guilty, because at the end of the day, you probably are still undercharging, like you said, for your cookies, but you're probably just giving them a discount on your labor, because you're just trying to recoup on what you've used for the cookies. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure you're saying, hey, you're working all these hours just to make all these cookies and stuff, and it's just like I'm sure you're just trying to get whatever you made for them, the cookies and stuff, but you're really not charging them for your labor. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. But yeah, you should not feel guilty about that, especially how good these damn cookies are, dude.
Well,
they are delicious. So yeah, don't feel guilty. And I've always wanted to know how that is. You know what I mean? And it's just like you were saying, you know how like Netflix started and Disney Plus, they give you this really low fee. Everybody has it in their home, and then they do these price increases. I don't want you to feel that way, but it's just like, hey, you got your name out there. You got all these people, and now it's just like, hey, okay, I did it at a cheaper rate. Now it's time for me to start charging for, what it's really worth. You know what I mean? Because like all these businesses do that. It's that introductory rate.
I have a perfect example of that. The taco. The taco used to be like $1.
Oh yeah, dude.
And now you go anywhere, and it's, I mean, obviously it's not $1 anymore. Like there's $2 tacos, there's $2.50 tacos. Yeah. It's all because everything's going up, and they have to make profit, obviously. So yeah, that's my best example of like the taco.
Perfect example. It really is.
Yeah. Bro, down the street, Tacos en Esa, whatever, used to say $1 tacos. Big sign.
Not anymore.
No, they took the sign down.
They took the sign down.
And it's just like I don't know. I don't know if it's they can't compete because of the market or whatever. But my thing is, look, for a restaurant, I totally get that they can't do $1. But all these taco trucks that have no overhead, you're not paying for no licensing, or they probably are paying for licensing and fees, but
no building, no rent.
No, none of that. They should be so much cheaper. Dude, I'm spending exactly the same as if I were to go to a restaurant. I don't understand it. Mm-hmm. I don't understand if their overhead should be minimal. Yeah. I don't understand how they're still charging so much. And that just goes to show inflation. So hopefully Theo Trump kind of changes that so we can kind of go back to where we were 4 years ago.
Get some cookies for $1. No, I'm just kidding.
I still do. I think like two cookies I still kept like at $1, because I was just like, no, like I can't. These ones are like smaller and they're more simple, and they make a bigger batch, and I'm like, I'll keep those like at $1.
Yeah.
Huh, well, that's cool.
But yeah, I do enjoy the thought behind of like, the people that only want to buy 2 and only can buy 2.
Yeah.
And your feelings behind that I respect that, and that's awesome for being that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially as you're growing still too, you know what I mean? You didn't think, I have all these clientels. I have the people that are consistently buying 24 or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's like, hey, you have to understand.
You're not changing your way as you're growing.
Yeah.
You're still keeping to yourself of that, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really awesome.
It's not always been like an easy thing. But I'm just extremely thankful because I have so many like people where like I'm saying like on Sunday, like when I will post my like weekly menu, like there's people and they order Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they do that every single week.
Whoa.
And it's like, and I don't expect people will buy and they'll post and, you know, like, and I repost it and stuff like that. But I don't expect anybody to post because, to be honest, when you're buying cookies like all the time, you don't want people to know that. So like,
I guess I never thought of that.
Yeah, like you don't want somebody to be like, "Dang, girl, again."
Damn.
And so I don't expect people like to post, and honestly, that's something like I'm not good at. Like my social media could be so much better. I could post so much more, and I know that I need to like be like in that mindset where it's like, you know, I'm running a business and I need to do this, I need to do that. And it's just like, but my kids keep me so busy, and I'm just like in such a mindset of like any extra time that I do have is like dedicated to them, because it's like in my, like I could be baking, and sometimes I have a tendency to like take on too much for all the things that I need to do in the day. And it's like, because, you know, like I take my son to school, and then I come home, and then I start baking, and then it's like I gotta, you know, like during that day I also have to like feed my baby, put him down for a nap, you know, if I need to go to the grocery store, and then it's like pick my son up from school, and then he has to go to, and then later on like dinner, and then practice, you know, and then I stay for his practice because it's too much for me to drive like in town, then back home to go back in town. And then I still have people during that whole thing that need to pick up their cookies too. And so it's, you know, like it can be like a lot in the day of what I have to do and like where I need to be. And I'm driving around like crazy all day long.
Dude, you're stressing me out just thinking of your day. I've been there, you know, the stay at home dad thing. So it's just like, I didn't even do half of that, but the whole drop off in the morning, then you got to go pick up. But in between the day, I had to deal with my son, and then, hey, nap time, and then feeding him. And I'm just like, God damn, what am I going to feed him? It's just, dude, it's a struggle just finding out what these kids going to eat. You know what I mean? So it's just like, God damn it. But yeah, that's crazy. So I really admire everything that you're doing. But honestly, you know that quote that everyone says, hey, if you find something that you love doing, you'll never work a day in your life. I feel like that fits perfectly to you, dude. Because I mean, hey, you enjoy baking, and it's just like, and you found a way to kind of make that work. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm sure you have your days where you're just like pulling your hair out. You're like, God damn,
there's days where I'm like, I don't love it that much today.
Yeah.
You know, but then I'm just like, you just have to reset. Like, I just got to like reset. And I also try to like remind myself, I'm like, okay, like I'm home. Yeah. And I'm with my baby. Yeah. And like, it may be like complete chaos, but I'm not at work. Yeah. And I'm not working for somebody.
Exactly.
And I'm making my own schedule. And if my baby woke up sick and I had to like message people, like, I'm so sorry, I need to care for him, people are so understanding. They are like, you know, especially when it's like a lot of moms that I'm messaging, and they're just like, oh, like completely understand, like take care of him, you know, like let me know when you can do it, don't even rush. Like the tremendous amount of support that I receive from people is honestly what keeps me going.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's really cool. Because it sounds more like of a fan base, you know what I mean? Because you got all these moms behind you, and they really, hey, don't worry about it, you know? But one thing I kind of wanted to touch bases that you said was the social media. That's something that we kind of struggle with, and it's hard because it's just like, I understand that's the one way that everyone's on social media, so that's one way that we can put ourselves out there. But it's just like to kind of constantly be on there and just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say we're shoving it down people's throats, but it's just like, hey, if people want to listen, they're going to listen. We don't have to constantly keep and it's hard for us to kind of do that too.
It's almost a job in itself. Like it really is. Even a backstory from and Ed knows about this. Even at work, I'm trying to run the social media for work, and I finally, but I'm horrible at it. Yeah. I'm like, I suck. And I told my boss the other day, I'm like, to be honest, sometimes it's like something that I put to the side because I don't really feel like it's work, but it's very important as well. Yeah. So it's tough, and
like
I know
working. That. It's like double work.
Yeah, but then I'll I'm here and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some content today, and I'm gonna go out to where these tractors are at. But then I'm like, but I have this paperwork that I need to do. Like, what's more important, this paperwork or this media?
Yeah.
But they're both as important, I think. It's just trying to get that.
Yeah, and another thing too is just like we're talking about social media. I tried doing the whole TikTok influencer thing for a bit. Bro, that shit's hard. People make it seem like, oh, hey, that's not a real job or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I was getting, a few hundred views and stuff. But my thing is just like, dude, you constantly have to be setting up the camera. You're constantly getting like changing it up. You have to edit the videos, bro. Like
picking a song.
Yeah.
Or
dude,
like a back. Yeah.
Bro, yeah, it's so much. And for like a minute video or less than a minute video, I'm like, oh God. But you know what? One thing when I would post, it would be nice to kind of see just all the likes come through and random people saying, oh my God, you're such a great dad or whatever. And I'm just like, it's cool. I like that recognition, but I
love the videos.
Yeah. But my thing is just like, dude, it's like you were saying, it took away. I was focusing on posting videos and not focusing on my kid throughout the day. I'm just like, oh, hey, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, I need to focus on my kid because I knew I was going to get a job soon. I was just like, let me just spend the time that I do have with my kid and not just worrying about fucking trying to get a viral video or whatnot. You know what I mean? But it was fun. I did enjoy making those videos. My kids now, like, hey, you stop making TikTok videos. And I'm just like, yeah, I'd rather focus on you guys. But like, oh, but we like seeing you. And I was just like, so it's just like, you got to take the good with the bad sometimes, but it was fun. It was a nice period of my time, and people do ask me from time, hey, why'd you stop? I'm just like, hey, it's a job, dude. It's another job where I'm just like, I already do too much. I want to focus. When I'm home, I just want to relax, But it is social media. Oh God, it's fun, but it's also
time consuming.
Yeah, very time
consuming.
And then like, part of another reason is like, okay, can you imagine like if I'm like, okay, when you guys have like cooked a meal and it's like, is your kitchen perfect in the end of that meal?
Hell no.
Nope.
All right. I'm baking 8 to 10 hours a day. My kitchen is a disaster. So for me to record, it would need to look, clean and yada yada. Like, it's not. My kitchen is not clean in the mix of all of it. You know what I mean? So then it's like, I don't want that to be in the background.
But actually, people enjoy that,
I
though.
was thinking the same thing.
People like seeing the real life. There's this guy that I would follow, and his house is a mess, and he's like a stay-at-home dad too. And he would like clean up in weird ways. He would use a leaf blower instead of like sweeping, and I think that would just kind of and I think it would just to kind of piss people off. You know what I mean? But I was like, hey, he was getting the views, but people just, I don't know. People find different ways to kind of.
That is very true. Like the realness.
Yes.
It's raw. Like it's not like this whole stage thing.
Yeah, and it was just like I don't know.
I guess I'll use this as motivation.
Yeah, it's just a little push, and I think people just want to see the behind the scenes. And I honestly, I think if you post this on your social media, people are like, hey, they want to know the real Marissa, the girl behind making the cookies, and I think they're gonna get a real different insight of, oh, hey, look at all the stuff she has to go through to make these cookies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, hey, the cookies they're wrapped up, ready to go. So I don't know. I think it'll be a
it's true.
yeah, different out,
It's
and
a
then
good insight.
and it kind of pushes you.
Time lapse, or what's it called?
Yeah.
Time lapse.
Yeah.
Time lapse would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see,
even I would be interested in
Yeah, I had
seeing
seen that.
I want to see how long it takes to make 6 to 8 cookies. That's wild, dude. But how big are they though?
That big.
No. Your tray.
It's like this big. I get really.
What's about?
I'm like paranoid that I don't know. Like I don't want cookies to like touch each other.
Oh,
you know what
see.
I mean? And
So that's the space. The spacing is the big thing. That's why you only have 6 to 8 cookies.
yeah. And then like this is like something like I want to do a little more research on and try to do, but like I could go to like I can't think of the word for what it is right now, but like go to like a business where they have like the professional kitchens where I would be able to use their ovens.
Ooh.
Okay.
And where, they have like the huge ass ovens. And I'm like, you know how much I could get done? I also would have to get a babysitter. And that's what stops me. But it's like, I know that there's a place like in Fresno.
Ghost kitchens.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
What?
Like a ghost kitchen?
Ghost kitchen it's a different sense. It's like when Applebee's has
a different menu.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like it's a different business, but it's under their same thing. That's what a ghost kitchen is. I know what you're talking about. It's like they have all the restaurant equipment and they just kind of rent it out. They rent
Gotcha.
you the space.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I've seen that. Fresno has a place like that?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
And I think it's only like, $13 an hour or something.
Oh,
and
no way.
So I'm like, it's totally doable, and it would be like completely worth it. And like the only downfall of me doing that would be like me finding like a babysitter and stuff. But I know that it would like tremendously like help me, especially
your output would be like ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And then I'm like, okay, like, you know, I could do that one day out of the week.
Yeah.
And it could help me for like 2 days, and it would be like I would love to have the extra time. And honestly, I've done like, I think I've gotten a babysitter like twice when I've baked before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I got so much done like by myself. And so I do think about like doing that.
That's cool. I mean, offer up if you find like because there's a bunch of restaurants that kind of tend to, you know, go under, you know, RIP to those businesses that don't make it. But sometimes I see like restaurant equipment that just, I don't know, they're just selling it for super cheap. And I'm just like, I've always wondered like, hey, who buys that stuff? You know what I mean? But it's just like, dude, that'd be I'm going to start looking out for you, dude. Cause I'm like,
Center ovens.
Yeah, dude. Cause at the end of the day, like if you can get like a big, like a restaurant commercial type oven, like in your home, well, not inside, but maybe, I don't know. Cause lady that works, that lives across the street from my mother-in-law's house, Vani's home, mom's house. She's got a legit setup all in her garage, dude. And she bakes conchas and shit all day. And I'm just
really?
like, yeah, dude. And it's just like, dude, maybe I'll hook her up and tell her like, hey, dude, can we borrow your oven for 2 hours? But yeah, it's just like, I've always wondered like, hey, when people, you know, buy restaurant equipment, what do they do with it? And that's a perfect example. This lady literally has her own baking business in her garage, dude. And it's just,
that would be legit.
Yeah, dude. But instead of paying $13 an hour, you just kind of invest in yourself. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that's a great business in itself, though, dude. Like being able to kind of rent that space, that's awesome. Kind of going back into social media. Oh, but my bad. You had a question? No, go ahead. No. Okay. I kind of wanted to talk about the posts that I saw that were pinned. You had a cookie contest with a bunch of different other bakers in the area.
Yes, it's true.
Dude, how did that come to, like, did he just kind of reach out? I'm like, hey, tell us, how did it go?
Honestly, it completely like caught me off guard, and especially because like I don't know, like I didn't even know that was like a thing. And so when he like messaged me, it was just like, I mean, it's the same sense like when you guys messaged me, it was like, oh my gosh, like thank you, like I feel honored. And so like that's how it was like when he had messaged me and like asked me, and I'm like, heck yeah, like I'm down. You know, because it's also like, okay, that's good publicity that I'm not like providing for myself because I'm lacking that. And so it's just like, you know, I was so thankful for that opportunity because, and it was like my mindset was because there are so many people that bake cookies like locally, and this was like Fresno and Madera.
Oh
yeah. And so and I think there was 4 of us, I think that there was, and we were supposed to be 5 of us, but I was like, to be picked out of that, like, wow, that's like, that to me, that was like a big deal. Because I'm still like very much so growing, but I know that there are so many people that make better cookies than me. Like there is, I will not say that I'm the best. But I mean, everybody likes something different. So like, that's the beauty in it, is like, you know, I could be the best to somebody, and, you know, to somebody else is the best. And I'm not here to be the best, but like in that, like I just went in with the mindset of this is just going to be good to get my name out there. And I was like, I don't even need to win anything. Yeah. Like if I don't win anything, I am cool with that. Like I am just in this like for the opportunity. And that was my mindset. So me and her name is Baking While Baked. And she does cookies, but her main thing is cakes. She is the sweetest person. I adore her. And we both put in the s'mores cookie, and in which we like, her and I talked about it. And because, you know, like that's why I'm saying like her and I both had the same mindset. And I was just like, because I have more flavors because I do like just cookies, but my s'mores is my top seller and the s'mores is her top seller. Oh. And I was just like, well, like, you know, let's just both put it in. Like, that's fine. Both of us have the same mentality of like, this is just a great opportunity, and we don't Like, we don't care if we don't win. Like, no hard feelings. And her and I ended up tying, which I, like, loved that. And I'm like, see, like, we're both awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
People love, like, both of our cookies. And, like, I loved that for the both of us.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. The publicity was just like, hey, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, that guy, I barely kind of knew about him because I'm not on social media that well. I'm at all, you know what I mean? I try to stay away from it. But when it comes to trying to be publicly like involved in stuff, I was just like, damn, this dude is like helping small businesses all around, whether it's restaurants, whatever it is, you know. So I started following him too, and I'm like, damn, this dude he's got his followers, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of cool, especially out in Central Valley. So when I saw your video pop up, I was like, no way. And then I went to your page, I was like, oh damn, he like literally got cookies from all these people. And I was like, oh, this contest was, I never heard anything like this where he goes to, you know, whether it's cookies or whatever else he's done. I was like, this is pretty cool. Yeah. So then I saw that you won something. I was just like, oh, damn. And I've never got to try the s'mores cookie. So I was just like, oh, damn, I need to try the cookie. If it won or it tied, you know what I mean? I was just like, I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity, and especially because it was like he didn't just do one video, he did multiple videos.
I saw that. Yeah.
And so, you know, that was a good opportunity for all of us that had like entered, because it was just like we were like, it gave us all something to post, and then it was like, then it was shared, and then it was just like all these other people that follow him for like food stuff, you know, and I'm talking like they're in Fresno and whatnot. And, you know, so then it was just like all these followers that all of us got is just like, okay, like that's awesome. Like shout out to him, because, you know, he got like, I will thank him for like my business growing, because I did get a lot of followers.
I was about to ask.
From like reposting that.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's a lot. Yeah, no, what I was asking, no, I haven't written it down. Where did the logo come from? Like, how did you create that logo?
I actually, well, I was just like looking some of them up. But what's funny is like another shout out to my sister-in-law. It's funny. Her youngest son gave me my nickname Sasa. And then her daughter is like extremely artistic, and she actually designed it for me.
No
awesome.
way.
Yeah. So
awesome.
I thought that was really cool, because, you know, like she's a teenager, and it's, you know, then she's family to me. So, and she's the one that made my design for me.
You got a whole production team behind you, man.
I know. I have a great support system. I do.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Also, the packaging. You bake the cookies, but you also need to package it. Where do you get your packaging? Do you order it somewhere? Do you just go to Smart and Final, or?
So I used to order on Amazon, and I was getting like the paper boxes.
I was going to say, that's what I remember with the paper boxes.
Yes.
I thought those were so cute, by the way, but I'm sure it's cost effective, right?
Well, yes. And then there's like a whole reason like behind it. So like I love the paper boxes. They're so much prettier. I will say they're so much prettier than what I use now. But it was definitely costing me more. And then like on top of it, Amazon would say that it's coming the next day, and it would be like, it'd come in 2 days. And I'm like, well, crap, what do I do now? Like, I have all these cookies that I need to box, and like the boxes are not coming in. And so then like that caused an issue. And then also so I live out in the country. Everybody will know that, like, that picks up from me. And when the summer hits, it was like ants like crazy. And I set my cookies outside.
Oh.
And it'll be like, I'm not setting them like, it's not like I box them and then set them outside. Like, you know, I'm messaging and they're like, oh yeah, like I'm going to go pick up the cookies around this time. Or I'm on my way, and I'll set them outside. Like, and so I'll set them outside for them, and ants would get on them. And that happened like, I want to say, I think it was only like 3 times that happened. And it's so embarrassing, like on my part, because, you know, it's not like I didn't know. And then they would tell me, and I would feel so awful, because then it's just like, I would have to like remake their cookies.
Oh, God.
And then it's just like, sometimes it would have to be like the next day, because like at the time that they're coming, like I've already left my house to take my kids to practice.
Oh man.
And so I would feel like extremely like embarrassed about it. And it's like, well, that's like kind of out of my control, because it's like, I don't know, like the ants weren't there, and then they smelled.
Yeah.
They smelled the cookies and they went. And so paper boxes were not it. So then I found boxes at Smart and Final, and they were so much cheaper than what I was paying on Amazon. Because like like the whole thing with like what I charge per cookie, I don't put in what I package.
Oh.
So that is simply like out of pocket for me. It is not going into the cost.
You guys hear that, guys?
Another loss.
But then it was just like with now like that I buy them at Smart and Final, they're more secured, so they're safer, and I have not had the problem like of ants like getting to them. And so it's just like, yeah, the boxes may not be like as cute, but it's going to keep your cookies safe.
Yeah. Cost effective too. I mean,
yes, and cost effective.
That's awesome. Well, what are other like problems or that you've kind of dealt with in this whole, venture that you've done? Like, I know there's always trial and error, but what are the one things that you've like taken away from this, from your venture?
Honestly, I'm very picky with how the cookies will come out. And I have to be like satisfied with like how it looks. And if it sometimes it's like something, I can do something exactly the same and it'll come out different. Yeah. And people don't think, because if you're not baking, then you don't know this, but the temperature of butter changes everything.
Oh yeah.
And so my room temp butter in the summer is very different than just like room temp butter. And so that was a lot of trial and error for me with figuring like things out, because people want the same. They don't want mistakes. Yeah. And so like my kids, they walk in and they're like, do you have any messed up cookies? And I'm like, like during the summer I was just like, yeah. Which sucks because it's like my time is still going into it. My money's still going into it. And I'm throwing cookies away.
Yeah.
But it's just that also taught me a lot, because I had to learn more. And I was like, I had to play with it and figure out like, what can I add now to make the cookie not like be flat or not too much this color or like whatever. And so like, it was a lot of trial and error in that. It is sometimes hard for me to like what I'm doing. Like once all my kids are home, it starts to be a little chaotic. I got 3 kids and they're all boys, very active. House is, it's crazy. It's rowdy. And it's like, okay, I'm tending to all of them, but I'm also trying to message back like 25 people all at the same time. And I like that part is like a little hard for me, because it's like my baby doesn't want me to be on my phone. You know what I mean? Like he wants my attention, and so it's like I'm trying to like focus on other people and getting back to them, and then I have to wait. Sometimes I have to wait hours for somebody to answer like a question that I have like about their order, and then that'll put me behind.
Oh man.
And so I think that sometimes I need to be better at like communicating and like asking the questions like up front. I've had somebody get really mad at me because they didn't know that like I can deliver cookies if I know like in advance, and if it works with my schedule. But it's not something that like I advertise or offer all the time, because honestly, like I don't have the time like to leave my house, because I'm still baking sometimes. And then because it's like I'm going in town, back home, and then in town again, back home. Annoying, yeah. And because my kids don't go to school near where I live, they're in town.
Oh man, okay.
And at 2 different schools as well. Ooh. And so like I had somebody get really mad at me because they needed me to deliver, and I couldn't. And then like that kind of like taught me like, okay, I maybe need to like give more detail like in things.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, again, that's a trial and error situation, because we've ran into this kind of starting the podcast too, where it's just like, hey, maybe we need to be more clear before we get either guests on or after, where it's just like, hey, before we post this, hey, this is our process. You know what I mean? And it's all trial and error,
Yeah. I'm still learning completely.
Yeah, I forgot the fact that she still has to deal with customer service.
Yeah.
There's a little bit about that I'm just like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have to deal with customers.
Yes, and like that itself, and I mean, like you guys know, like we all started off in customer service.
Yeah. The customer's always right.
Yeah, and so like that itself. Yeah, like talking to people and replying to people, and like I feel really bad because sometimes like I can't get back like in the time frame that I want to, and I just always hope that people can like know and understand like I'm not ignoring you, and it's like it's not that I'm trying to take like a day to respond, and it's just like if I'm not responding, it's truly because like I'm busy and not because I don't want to, but it is like I have a lot of messages, and it's like a lot of messages like throughout the day, and that itself is like sometimes like overwhelming, but I don't want to sound like ungrateful because I'm extremely grateful that my inbox is full. You know what I mean? Like I am so thankful that those messages are coming through.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for all these people supporting me, like I don't know what I would do.
Yeah,
like
you wouldn't have the opportunity to stay home with your kid, right?
Yeah, exactly. And because it was like before this, I was working with kids in the school district, and that is my number one passion is working with kids.
Oh, okay.
And that's my end goal. And I got a job opportunity, at where my mom and my son go to school.
Oh,
and while my mom works, my son goes to school. And like you can imagine like getting that phone call is like like oh my gosh, but I would have made less money. And
less money as in then you would have to find daycare for your child, right?
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
And that, yeah, I've heard so many things where it's like, hey, people are like turning down jobs because what it costs for daycare, dude, is just like, it's outrageous. I'm like, hey, I'd be literally, I'd be losing money. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be working just to send him to daycare.
Exactly.
So it would be like, well, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, so that was hard for me to have to turn down a job that like, I knew I would be happy where I was. I would love it. I'd be, like close to my mom and my son. Like who doesn't want that? But it was just like, yeah, no, that's not gonna like add up for me. And so, like I turned that down, and so it's just like I'm thankful that I get to be home and that I have the opportunity like for that. And it's it's because everybody.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you have to kind of not rearrange, but like keep in your mind like, hey, I have to be grateful, even though you're stressed out at times. You're just like, hey, you have to like, I'm in a situation where it's like, hey, I should be very grateful where I'm at, but it's just like also with all the stress and everything going on, it tends to be too much sometimes, right? As any business owner would be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. But it's like, I mean, we've all worked for somebody that we didn't want to at some point. And so I'm glad to not have that part in my life right now.
That's awesome. That's good.
Like this kind of stress, I would take over the other kind of stress.
Yeah. That's for sure.
And if I'm going to be underpaid, I want it to be because I'm choosing that, not because of them.
That's true.
Yeah. And then it's just like in the mix of it all, I'm like, I'm home with my son, and the value of that is way greater than like any pay. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then I'm making my own schedule too. So I'm lucky in that sense.
And then once he gets older too, it's only going to get easier, right? He's going to be able to, because like I got a 2-year-old right now too, and it's just like, hey, it was nothing compared to a year ago, because it's like you're doing a whole lot less. And once this dude's potty trained and he gets to, because he can already go in the pantry and he gets on a box and he already grabs his own snacks. So I'm just like, all right, cool, you're good for a couple hours, So it's like, I know once it gets older and, for you, I know it's hopefully your business, thrives and keeps going because you won't have as many obstacles, Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's awesome. So you want to close it? Or sorry, you got something?
No, yeah, close it up. I think I'd like to bring to the light of what we talked about: the baking part, the media part, the coordinating part. That is all Marissa. And all together, that's all her. So that's pretty awesome. And
yeah. So is there anything you kind of? Well, I mean, before we leave, what's next for Marissa? Like, what do you have anything in store? Do you have anything?
I don't know. I actually, okay, so like after I do like a pop-up, I'm so like motivated. It's a huge like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun, especially like at the place that it's held at. It's just so much fun there. But it's like you do a pop-up and then it's like you have like, you sell out and you're like, whoa, like this was a lot of cookies in like a short amount of time, and like everybody's buying, and you got to turn people away, and like that's pretty awesome. And it like motivated me to be like, maybe I should host a pop-up. And I'm like, I have the space. And so I think that that's kind of in the works right now.
Nice.
I don't know, like I want more. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I want to figure out ways that I can like expand for myself, but still keep it small. Yeah. Because it is just me. And so, what I do want to do is like get to a point where maybe like my cookies could be sold somewhere else.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just talking about that with Vani, because her friend, I think you might have bought coffee off of her, Josefina. How she sells coffees and stuff. Yeah. And I was just like, hey, so when she's, if for whatever reason she has a couple of your cookies, and when she's selling, her ice or her coffees in general, it's just like, hey, she can upsell your cookies. Hey, did you want to try it? It's also another small business, and these are the cookies. So it's just like, hey, small businesses helping each other out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because like she could probably just be doing cookies and has nothing to pair that the coffee with. So it's just like those small ideas. But
honestly, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I have thought the exact same thing, and actually with that exact person.
Oh, no way.
Because we live down the street from each other. And so, and then like she did this, it was so good. It was a Biscoff, which is like cookie butter, coffee. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I make a Biscoff cookie.
Oh, God.
And so I'm just like that was like, the wheels were turning, and I was like, what if like, I bake some at night, and then she could offer that like with her cookies and stuff. And I'm like, whether it was that flavor or another flavor, I'm like, what if we did that? And I think like sometimes like I have these ideas and I don't jump on them, and that, it's honestly just my fault. But I do like the ideas, the wheels, they be turning, but, I want to do that. Prices would have to go up.
Yes, I know.
And like, because one of us would be doing more. And so, then you have to like wage that out. And that's the part sometimes that holds me back, is that guilt.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Plus
you're already limited with resources and time, you know what I mean? So it's just like, hey, to do more, you're going to have to take some time away from something or someone, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, I understand where that's coming from. But, the opportunities are endless,
Yes.
But before we leave, is there anything you want to plug? Your social media, your menu? What you got? What you got so people where can they find you?
Oh, Instagram. So just look up Cookies by Sasa. If you follow my personal page, you can also find my page like on there. I do need to like venture out and put it on Facebook or something. And the only reason I haven't is because I don't know if I could handle like more than what I have. And it's just like, which again, like I'm so thankful for like all the continued like support. And it's like, if I were to add another platform, I'm like, I wouldn't like, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like so overwhelmed maybe. And like the time that I get back to people and stuff like that, like the time management is like what worries me, and is why I just keep it to like Instagram.
Just a quick thought. Maybe you just kind of promote everything on Facebook, but tell them they can put their menu or their order in on Instagram.
You know what? Yeah.
Because I was like, because there's I noticed that the older generation are on Facebook. They are not on Instagram. So it's just like, hey, you got the Gramps, Gramps want their cookies too, and the grandmas, they're like, hey, they're tired of their homemade cookies. They'd rather just go buy them from somebody else. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, where it's just like, hey, to be on two platforms going back and forth and constantly getting notifications, that sounds stressful enough as it is.
Yes, but good idea for you. Like, that's what I need to do. I need to like, put it out there on Facebook, but contact me.
Yeah.
Like through Instagram. Or yeah, I've given, like, I can't put like my number like on social media like that, but I have given like at the pop-up, I've had like people that don't have social media in general.
Oh, that's another clientele that you got to kind of work with. Oh, man.
Yes, and I've given them my number, and I'm just like, put me down as a cookie lady and text me anytime, call me.
You need to get an Obama phone so people can just call you on just that number. You can have a cookie hotline, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But okay. All right. So guys, reach out on Instagram. But hey, thank you very much for having us.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
And thank you for bringing the cookies. I can't wait to dig into those right
welcome.
now.
Thank you guys so much for the
buy
opportunity.
local. Yeah, buy local, shop local, everybody.
Yeah. So guys, again, reach out to her on Instagram. And for us, thank you guys for listening to the pod again. We're going through some trial and error like we were talking about too. So we will try not to have any more cancellations or hiatuses, I guess you could say. But, I really do appreciate you coming. Guys, reach us out if you guys want to be a guest, or if you know that wants to be a guest on the pod. Because, we're actually filled up for the end of the year, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so we're filled up to the end of the year. But, we're trying to do some doubles just so we don't have this again. So if you guys know anybody, or if you want to be on here, Marissa, how was it? You said you were nervous, right? So
no, I loved this.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, like I would do it all over again for another topic.
Awesome.
So you feel like you just got off a roller coaster ride, right? That's just kind of your like,
high.
yeah, right? So
no, it's actually, I was extremely nervous. And then it was like once we started going, it was like
it's just a conversation, right?
Yeah,
it's just a conversation with a mic in front of us.
Yeah, and like I probably talked too much, and I'm sorry.
No, that's what we want. We want people to kind of know.
How easy was it? We reached out, and then
so easy.
We reached out. You just said yeah, and then here you are.
Later, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're trying to kind of get the. We just trying to make it as easy and calm as possible. But sometimes when we schedule everything ahead, people get it in their mind. They're like, oh, hey, it's a month in advance. And then finally when the time comes, they're like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ready. And it's like, and it's just like, it's okay. I understand that, public speaking isn't for everyone, even though we're just right here. But yeah, people do kind of psych themselves out. Like, hey, it's a podcast, hundreds of people are going to listen to it. So it's just like, it is what it is. But we just
that was my mentality, where I was like, oh my God, don't say anything that you don't want to hear. And then it was just like, and then it just flows. Like, you guys talk, make me comfortable. And then, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad we could make you comfortable. Glad you got here, had some fun. That's at the end of the day, that's kind of what we started this podcast. We want to have fun, and meet cool people along the way. Even though we already knew you, it was nice to kind of reconnect and kind of see how your business was going.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys.
So guys, follow her on Instagram. Reach out us if you guys got any questions. Please feel free to reach out to us on our Instagram as well. Bye.